everyone. Welcome back to the railroad. The HO Scale Union Pacific Railroad Evanston Subdivision. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for episode 41 of season 2023. Did quite a few things this week. The main thing is kind of what you're looking at right now, which is ballast at the West Vaco control point. Was not the easiest thing to do because of the kind of out of reach areas. Had to do a lot of bending my back and reaching for the spots that needed to be ballasted, but did get it all done. Wasn't real important that it was done perfectly, because this is basically as close of a look as you get of it when you're normally operating the layout. But I still wanted to get it as looking as good as I could. So basically did from this point here all the way across the West Vaco, and then a little bit into the next section there. Here's a view from the other side. Now it was easy working on the middle part because I could stand inside there, but it's like this part right here from the signals this way was really hard. Now this won't be too bad. There'll be another little reach right there, but that was hard to do from the signals to here, and you can see it's probably not the best, but you don't really get that great of a view of it. So I was real happy with the way it turned out, and definitely happy that I got it done. Now this is a part that I had ballasted before. Now if you look closely, the track in the back is got a bit of a hump problem. So they're even, and then that one kind of goes up. If you can see, it basically goes up and then back down again. And what happened when I ballasted this, I must have got some ballast under the track. And if the track isn't tacked down really well everywhere, that does happen sometimes. I was not as careful as I should have been, so here you can see what happens. You definitely have a bit of a hump as the cars go up and then back down again. Now this is a Class 1 railroad, and when they lay out the track and maintain the track, it's pretty much perfectly level. Now there are grades, of course, up and down, but as far as a stretch of track, it is pretty much straight. And want to try and get it as perfect as possible, being that it is the Union Pacific Railroad. Now here you have what I basically did is I took my water spray and I just soaked that area as much as I could. Soaked it so much so that the ballast loosened, the glue loosened up on the ballast, and I just moved the track back and forth and scraped off the excess ballast, and basically got it to go down almost 100%. There's still a little bit of a hump, but I don't think it's from the ballast anymore. I think it's just a little bit of the unevenness of the plywood. This is a 3-inch upper deck, so it's hard to keep the thing being perfectly straight. Now, I also had some issues on ballast. This is way back some ballast I did over a year ago where the ballast started to crack. Here you can see it's actually kind of coming apart a little bit. So I definitely want to get that fixed up. I soaked that also with some water. Here you can kind of see how it looked. So I soaked it really good with water and then put some more glue on, and I thought it looked great, but then when it dried, it cracked up again. So I'm going to have to do this again. So far it's not fixed yet. I'm going to soak it again, and then I'm going to sprinkle some more ballast over it to kind of fill in those cracks with some additional ballast. Now this part here, there were some areas where it was cracked and it did actually get fixed, but I'm still going to be working on that. I also worked on the labels a little bit. I've been using paper labels, and I did finally get some printed up at Walgreens that's a little bit more permanent. So the paper ones were just printed on my printer here at home, and you can see the difference in the quality between what's printed at Walgreens on poster board and what's done on my computer here at home on just plain old paper. Now I want to kind of go ahead and mount some of these as permanently as possible, so I used rubber cement here. Picked it up at Home Depot, and here you can see I have some rubber cement on both the fascia and also on the label. You let it dry for like 15 minutes, and I try to get it as level as possible. And after waiting 15 minutes, then I want to make sure I put it on as level as possible. And the way this works was pretty much when you stick it on, it's stuck, so you don't really get a second try. So I want to make sure I put it on level, so I basically measure the levelness of the bottom of the fascia, because I wanted it to line up with the fascia more than anything, so that it looked right. And then we put my level on here and put that at exactly the same incline. I think it was like 0.15 was the difference between the two. Yeah, I'm very carefully trying to get it exact. I could have just measured up from the bottom of the fascia up to where it was and made sure it was the same on both ends, but then I'd have to mark the fascia. I really didn't want to do that, so I just used my level, trying to do this one-handed. So then I put the label on there and then just pressed it on and made sure that it went on as level as possible. And this is actually on a seam, so it's not perfectly flat, but the label was able to stick to it, and then it's curved just a little bit. This poster board is really nice from Walgreens. And I wanted to mention too, I think Walmart has the same type of printing service, so you might want to check them out. But this is 1.3 millimeter poster board, and I really like the way it looks. Now you can see some of the white of the poster board, but it actually looks nice. It looks like a trim. So you have the UP yellow, the red printing and border, and then the white. And I went ahead and printed all the labels, and even though this is temporary here, I just used two double-sided tape for here, because I'll be wanting to take these off when I paint. These here I used rubber cement again because it's more permanent. The yellow and red looks really nice against the black. Looks I think it looks pretty professional. Real happy with the way that looks. Here you can see some more. Now the way this works, I did a 16-inch by 20-inch poster board, 1.3 millimeters thick, and it normally costs $26 to get that printed, and they had a 60% off sale, so it was only like $10.80, and with tax just over $11. So I got 14 labels. That's like 70 cents a label. Now this one here I did not print up. I got this from the Union Pacific itself. An employee that I won't mention gave that to me, and these are basically the labels that they use to put on the side of their trucks, their maintenance trucks. And so it looks really nice right here, and turned out pretty good. And when I was doing my second poster board, I had some extra space, so I thought, well, I'll put like a label, but I was thinking about putting it there, but it doesn't look good. It was too distracting. So I put it up here at the staging yard. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might just not use it at all. But like I said, I could do 14 labels on one. I did a second one where I had 6 more to do, and I had some extra space, so I added that. I've finally been having some oxidation issues on my track after 2 years. So for the first time, I've been using some oil. I use the Rail Zip supposed to have some special ingredients, advanced technology, track cleaner, and corrosion inhibitor. It basically is transmission fluid. But it works pretty well. I've always used it on my N-scale layouts, and I'm happy with the way it is working so far on this layout. Another thing that I did was got some clipboards. People have been complaining a little bit about not being able to write on their switch list very easy, checking off cars that have been picked up and so forth. So I got some clipboards with a little eyelet there that you can then put on the hook. And they can take them off the hook if they want to, but I think they'll probably just, lean them towards them and then write on them. They basically need a way to check off cars that they've taken care of and so forth. So I got a couple here at the yard. I also use these hooks for throttles. By the way, the clipboards cost like $9 for 6 of them, so they're very cheap. And the hooks were like $4 or $5 for 10. So for about $16, I got 6 clipboards and 10 hooks. I use some of the hooks also for throttles. Been using these. This is a UT6D, and so I'm kind of putting a hook by each of the UP5 panels so that people can put their throttles on there. I use Velcro. I've been using Velcro for the other throttles, but I'm going to switch over to the hooks. Here you have another clipboard for the person working the UTLX repair shop. And then one thing I did in preparation for next week is put in a road, or the base for a road. Now the gravel road is going to go across the tracks here and then go down parallel to the tracks. You can see I've been working on the upper level, kind of bent the lower tracks there. I'll have to straighten those out. But anyway, I got the base for the gravel road that's going to go parallel to the tracks and then into the Evanston yard area. And you may notice also I put some hardboard behind the backdrop there. That's what I'm going to be attaching the scenery to. Now, if you look at the road here, I made it so that it goes up and down a little bit. So if you notice it goes down a little bit there, comes back up here, and then kind of levels off. I didn't want it to be perfectly in tune with the track. I wanted it to kind of go up and down a little bit so it'll be a little bit more realistic. So hopefully this will all be plastered and scenic for next week. I do have a operating session on Saturday, so hopefully in preparation for the operating session as well as in preparation for my update next week, we'll get some scenery up to here, including the fascia and everything. Here I am standing in the apex of the peninsula. This is where you don't really get to very often, but it is kind of a cool view of the entire layout. But I thought since this is where I did the ballast, you could kind of take a look and see how it looks here, and we'll have some trains running through. If you notice the backdrops aren't quite matched up there, I'm going to use a straight edge and cut the top of one of them so that it's more level. A little disappointing that the two skies are a little bit different shade, but like I said, you won't be viewing it from this angle very much, and I don't think it's that noticeable from the layout area. I did not get all the telephone wire run to these telephone poles. You know, so I did put the telephone poles in after I did the ballast, and I also put trees in there, but I didn't do the telephone line because I ran out. I was getting started on it, and I looked at the spool that I had, and it was almost all gone. And so I didn't even get started because I knew there was no way I would have enough to finish. So I just didn't get started and ordered some, and that should be here hopefully before too long and get that done. I don't know if I'll have it done by next week or not. I think I'm also going to paint the fascia. If you notice, the fascia here is still painted the color of the layout. Same paint as I use for the scenery. You can't really see it from the layout, but I might still paint it black just so that everything matches together. You have the DPU going by. as the stack trains. So I got quite a bit done this week. Hope to get some more done. I'm going to be posting a review of Mac Rails details. They have an end of train. I have all the video shot. I just have to narrate it, and I'll post that this week. And then I'm going to be dispatching for our operating session on Saturday, so I may do a live video while I'm dispatching, so you kind of get an idea about that. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Take care. Have a great week.